Hey there, this is Real Talk Baseball. I'm Carlos Baseball. With me, as always, is Will Power, and we have a good show for you today. We do have this is our second show, our third season. I was just like kind of wowing at the fact that this is our third season. I remember when we first started, it was kind of weird doing this, looking at each other in the camera. And are there any people going to look at us and really like subscribe? And it's been a long journey, right, Will?
Yeah, it was really nerve-wracking in the beginning, man. But
Yeah.
I mean, a couple years in, and we're on season 3 now, and I feel good, dude. I feel a lot more comfortable. I feel like, I helped a few people last season win their fantasy leagues,
Yep.
so that really gave me the confidence boost that I kind of needed to come into season 3 with this newfound confidence that I have.
Nice, man. So we're going to talk about the 2022 draft strategy, which Will is going to take us in, hopefully gives us good advice for that. Players to avoid, who should go first in overall first draft pick, and CBA update. I think, they met today, right, for 15 minutes, I guess, and there was a lot of things said, but nothing concrete so far. I know they said that they should start the spring training in, what was it, March 5th? That
Yeah,
was right.
the new date that MLB is giving for spring training to start is March 5th.
Yeah.
And the MLBPA actually clapped back, and they said that there was no reason to do that, that they still have time to figure out what needs to be figured out, the rest of the things that are supposed to be on the docket, and be able to still start spring training on time. And
Yeah.
the MLBPA has, I feel like they just have this kind of animosity towards MLB, which I completely understand. But there has to be some give and take, and I feel like MLB is being a little bit more on the lenient side, whereas MLBPA is more just like, no, this is how it's going to be. This is what we want, and we don't want to change anything different. Now, they did drop one of their proposals. MLBPA dropped one of their proposals about, I think it was the service time. It was either
Oh, yeah.
the service time or the minor leaguers. But now Major League Baseball was talking about eliminating one of the minor leagues completely. So it would have to be single A ball, the lowest division that they have,
Yeah.
which, if that's the kind of sacrifice that we need to have to be able to pay the guys that are in AA and AAA,
Yeah.
I'm kind of all for it. Like it really sucks that a lot of these guys aren't going to have the hopes of, reaching their full potential and reaching their dreams. But I mean, how many guys that just stay in single A really make it to the big leagues? Do we really need to have 3 tiers of minor league baseball, where other sports don't even have any? I think that if we just stick with just the AA and the AAA, I think that would fix a lot of things. And if they want to save money and give it to those players, the AAA players, the AA players, I'm all for it.
Yeah, dude. We got Ozzy on. What's going on, dude? And then we
What's up,
have
Oswald?
Jasper, dude.
Oh,
I haven't
Jasper,
heard
what's
from
up,
him in a
dude?
while. How's it going? Um, yeah, I agree. It would save a lot of money, and if they decide to do a single A, why not include the college ball in there? College ball the players don't get paid, so might as well just have them
Yeah.
play in single A and then jump into second. What is it? Double A. Usually, double A players make it to the MLB, so I think
Yeah.
it's not a good idea to get rid of the double A yet. I think single A, like you said, there's a lot of single A teams out here that you never see players either jump that much. I mean, they just have the team out there and they like they get paid a little bit, but not a lot, but I think the college, I think will benefit a lot from it because you have a lot of college players making the draft this year's. There's Vanderbilt's one of them,
Yeah.
and you have a lot of players from them. You have
Well, see, that's another thing also
college
is
players that's
that,
going to the World Series right after college, right? So
yeah.
yeah, so
Well,
it's
see,
like
that's another thing too, is like if you have a decision to make, like let's say you are involved in the MLB draft, the 2022 MLB draft,
yeah,
and you're a player and you have to decide to either get drafted in the 27th round or go to college,
yeah,
and that 27th round player, a lot of times those players that get drafted that late don't really pan out too well, So go to college, develop your craft, come back, get drafted higher, and then go straight to AA or AAA.
That's true. You can do that. Well, there is no fantasy baseball if there is no baseball season. So it does look like it's going to be a season, but when is it going to start? We have no idea. Pitchers and catchers were supposed to report this week, and that's kind of getting a delay. So they're saying if spring training does start March 5th, the season's going to start right on time. But I wonder what kind of, players need time to get their rhythm going. It's not like they're playing every other day. No, they're playing 162 games, pretty much every six games a week.
Most players, right?
Most, but I mean,
there's some guys out there that are just insane that just smash the ball on the first day they get out on the field.
That's true, but that's because there's not a lot of good pitching. Wait till those pitchers get all of their velocity.
Exactly.
Like 95, 96.
If the spring training is shortened and pitchers and catchers aren't even reporting yet, that means that these guys aren't going to be stretched out enough to go 6-7 innings by the time the season starts.
Not yet.
They're going to have to utilize the bullpen a lot more.
Yeah. So let's move on, man. Let's go into the strategy, dude. What kind of strategy are you looking to get into this 2022? I know there's a lot of strategies that we used last year, and you, like you mentioned at the start of the show, you gave advice to some guys and they won their league. So what are you looking for this year, 2022?
One of the things that I see very different about 2022,
besides the lockout.
Yeah, besides the lockout. In 2021, we found out that there was a different ball being used, and there was also a sticky substance ban. So there's a lot of starting pitchers out there, relief pitchers as well, that were really their skill level just went down a lot, just from not being able to use that foreign substance, and possibly the change of the ball, whether the seams are moved a little bit or just the grip of the leather on their fingers just didn't feel right. A lot of pitchers just underperformed. Garrett Cole comes to mind, a pitcher that you are going to draft in the first round, the first pitcher off the board, because Jacob Degrom is not healthy right now. But that's the type of guy that, he has used sticky stuff in the past, and he's said that on television before, that he has used stuff, and the change of the ball. I'm sure that that it's just another thing that adds on to his lack of skills that are making it so that he's not living up to his full potential that he has been in the past 5 years now that he's been considered an ace.
Yeah. But didn't they say they were going to bring the sticky substance back, like something that's MLB regulated?
So there's two things that are kind of like floating on around out there. One is that every ball will have a certain amount of tackiness to it, that they're going to do that before the balls are even distributed. So it'll actually happen in a factory. And then the second thing that they're doing, that they possibly might do, is there will be a certain substance that will be issued to any player that wants it, and that's the only substance that they can actually use. So no more pine tar, no more spider tack. It's going to be made by Rawlings, and it's going to be officially licensed by MLB.
Nice.
Well, that's one scenario. So
yeah,
we'll see if it actually happens.
For us that throw 90 plus, man, that's gonna help. For us. Just gotta sneak that one in. Hey, there was one time I reached 80 something. So
did you really?
Yeah, and then the next day my arm was hurting. Like never again. Those were the glory days.
Yeah, it's a different breed, man. These guys train every single day and they work on their craft, and there's no way that someone could just come out of nowhere and just throw 90 without practicing.
Oh no, you gotta work at your craft.
You gotta work on it. You gotta work on your mechanics, your leg strength. A lot of people don't know that pitching velocity actually comes a lot from the legs.
So you told us about the ball though, but what's the strategy there? Like, what are you looking for?
Okay, so the point that I was kind of going for was that I'm downgrading a lot of pitchers because of this. There's a lot of pitchers that we're considered like high elite. There was like a top like five, and then the rest of all the pitchers in MLB just got like a huge that they were downgraded so much,
Yeah.
below these guys.
Yeah.
So guys like Garrett Cole and Jacob Degrom and Scherzer and Shane Bieber, there's a specific group of players that I think still should go pretty decently early. But a lot of that middle tier pitchers, they're just not performing as well as they used to. So I can see Garrett Cole getting drafted in the first round. I can see Jacob Degrom and Scherzer and a couple other pitchers, Shane Bieber, going in the second, maybe third round.
Yeah.
But there's a pretty decent gap that like from the third round up to maybe like the sixth or seventh round, that those hitters in that area are just so much more valuable than those pitchers that are available in that area.
It depends too, though. It depends what is it, categories or is it points league, right?
It does. I mean that changes quite a bit. But that's more about like pitchers that you want longevity from, that go for more innings. In a categories league, like, yeah, you're going for strikeouts, but it's a weekly strikeout total, not a season-long strikeout total, unless it's roto. If it's roto, you just take the whole season stats for, and then base them up against the rest of the league. But in a categories league, that's like a head-to-head every week. Strikeouts are very important, but you're looking more for, five other categories or four other categories, depending on if it's 5x5 or 6x6. You're looking for low ERA, you're looking for low whip, you're looking for wins and quality starts and saves. And a lot of categories leagues out there, they're not even doing just saves anymore. They do saves and holds. A lot of closers. I mean, how many closers can you actually name? How many teams can actually say this guy is our closer?
I can only say Jensen's a closer, to be honest.
Not anymore. He's a free agent.
I mean,
so who knows?
No, I'm talking just closer, like not before? A Dodger,
Yeah.
Yeah, but closer.
Well, Liam Hendricks, right? The White Sox have Liam Hendricks as their closer. They also had Craig Kimbrell, who when they
have two closers, so they don't know which one is going to close the games yet. That's
but
with the league
didn't really get any saves last year. He had a very small amount, and it was only on the days that Liam Hendricks was not available. But Liam Hendricks was always the go-to guy. That's at least for 2021. Now, going into 2022, you're absolutely correct. Who knows if Liam Hendricks is still going to be the closer? Who knows if Josh Hader is going to be the closer?
Josh Hader's on the trade talks too, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What if Josh Hader ends up going to, another team that actually does have a closer, and they have another question on their hands? Like, I mean, it's a good problem to have when you have two closers on your team, but it kind of sucks from a fantasy aspect, because then we don't know who we should choose in the draft.
Okay, with the strategy you're just saying, then with all these free agents right now, like because of lockout, we don't know where the players are going to go. And you have one of the top shortstops out there, and because Corey Seeger already signed with Texas, you have Carlos Correa. Whether you like him or not, he was an Astro, he was whatever, he's still a top shortstop, right? Hitting wise, he's still going to get you enough points. It's going to get you like average and hits in here and there. So then you're looking at Freddie Freeman. Wherever he goes, he's going to do really good. He's one of those players that he does good by himself. He doesn't need a cast. But if he goes to a team that it's a legit team, if he goes back to the Braves, I think he's going to be legit, But if he goes to a team like, let's say, the Mariners or one of those teams that are not top notch, are you still looking at these free agents where they sign, or do they drop draft picks? I mean, draft rounds because of where they sign. Is that one of the strategies that you're looking at once the season starts?
When you get into that, then you really have to know your baseball, because the Mariners actually scored a lot of runs last year.
They almost made the playoffs last year too.
Yeah, because of their offense, not because of their pitching.
Well, at the end, it was their pitching. Remember
after
the last
trade.
month? Yeah,
after their trades.
But
their lineup is actually really solid. You look at like the number 1, 2, and possibly 3 guy, and then if they were deciding Freddie Freeman, which is not going to happen, let's just say that they were. The Mariners.
Oh, the Mariners. Okay.
So if they were to sign a guy like Freddie Freeman, then I wouldn't downgrade Freddie Freeman too much going to a team like that.
Yeah.
If he went to the Orioles or if he went to the Marlins, that's a huge downgrade. Huge downgrade.
But still, I think he's one of those players that he played in the Braves when the Braves didn't have a solid team. So then you're looking
at in a points league, it's completely different, but in a categories league, scoring 110 runs on a really good offensive team compared to scoring 92 runs, that's almost a 20-run difference if you're on a worse team. And the same thing goes for RBIs. If the guys that are batting in front of you are not getting on base, you're not getting those RBIs, which also counts in points leagues also, but an RBI is just 1 point. A run is just 1 point. So for the whole week, maybe you'll get 7-8 points less, total. But in a categories league, I feel like the distance, the difference between, getting 15 RBI in a week and 10 RBI in a week, that's a much bigger gap in the categories league than in a points league.
Okay, so this is why I mentioned Freddie Freeman and I mentioned Carlos Correa. So Carlos Correa going to a team like the Orioles, how is his value drop? Because he played for the Astros, right? The Astros were one of those top teams that their hitting is all around. It starts from number 1 all the way to 9. Doesn't matter where you bat, they're producing. Yeah. So he's going to go to one of those teams that maybe is going to give him a lot of money, but is he going to be able to produce? He's not
going to get a lot of plate appearances. I'll tell you that. Going from the Astros, having over 600 plate appearances, and then if he were to go to a team like the Orioles or the Marlins, he definitely wouldn't have anywhere near that for the season. He would probably have 50 to 100 less plate appearances for the season.
So then he will drop his value.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. Okay. And what about Corey Seeger now that he did sign with the Rangers? Do you feel like he dropped or he's still in the same spot?
I think that he's still in the same spot. I think that it's really hard to be a good power hitter in Dodger Stadium. And he's not really like one of those like mashers, but he's a solid 20 to 25 home runs every season, possibly a little bit more. Yeah. And going to, what is it? Globe Life? Is that what it's called?
Globe Life Field? Yeah. Global Life.
That's a better hitter's park than it is a
pitcher park
than Dodger Stadium is. Dodger Stadium is a big time pitcher's park. Even though the fence isn't that far away, it's just the California air. The ball just doesn't travel as far as it does in other stadiums that are colder temperatures and thinner air
and hotter in the summer because Texas is hot, but they're playing inside, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, well,
so I don't think that Corey Seager's value is really going to drop too much, but if he were to go to one of those other teams like the Marlins or teams that we said before, the value would have dropped pretty significantly.
I bet, man, because those are teams that need players and they need players to get on base so they can go ahead and produce runs, right?
Yeah.
So,
I did get off topic a little bit. So my basic
that's what I was going to get to next.
My basic strategy that I was kind of going towards is if you want to grab one of those top 3, 4, 5 starting pitchers as your number 1 pitcher, that's fine, but I wouldn't go reaching for any other starting pitchers kind of after that group because a lot of them are just going too early, and they're going early because there's nothing really available in that like 5-round period. There's going to be a lot of guys. Walker Buehler is probably going to be there. Julio Urias is probably going to be there. And do you really want to reach for those guys in the, into the first round, early second round type of thing? Even Scherzer, man. Scherzer is going pretty early. He's ranked at number 15 overall right now. And he didn't even finish the season last year. He was supposed to be the Dodgers ace. The Dodgers traded for him, and they were hoping that he was going to take them to another World Series title win. And he had dead arm. He said he couldn't pitch anymore. He overworked himself, and at 38 years old, 39 years old, almost, how is that going to correlate coming into this season now? Like, I understand, like it's been, 4 or 5 months since he's had to really, ramp up his velocity and throw hard and throw 100 pitches. But I mean, at that age, it's really hard to kind of maintain what you've been maintaining for the past, 15 to 20 years in your younger self. We
Yeah.
always talking about how the older you get, like you're on the wrong side of 30, the wrong side of 30, meaning in baseball that's when you start to decline. And we haven't really seen a decline from him, but we did see an injury at almost 40 years old.
Well, it's not really an injury. It's more like you start seeing the age in the pitcher. You start seeing fatigue. You start seeing the pitcher kind of like decline in speed, his workout ethic. Like, you look at the series they had against the Giants. It was a really stressful playoff games. A lot of people may say, but it's just him pitching. Yeah, but it goes a lot more into it. It's not just about throwing the ball and making sure that it goes in the strike zone. Like, no, you got to think about hitting. You got to think about where he's going to swing. So it's deeper, it goes in deeper. When you play regular season, you're just trying to get ready for that playoff moment. Remember, Scherzer wasn't pitching playoff baseball until he got to the Dodgers, right?
Yeah. Well, 2018. I'm
talking about the 2021 season. The Nationals were out of it from the get-go. They weren't going to push, or maybe, who knows, right? I don't know if they were going to push to go into the playoffs or make trades to go into playoffs. 2019, remember, they were one of those teams that were going to dismantle the team, and look at where they end up. They won the World Series, right?
I want to say they lost I want to say they were like 8-22 in their first 30 games of the season in something 2019 when they won the World Series.
So before the All-Star break, they were under 500, I believe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So then they turned it around. So that's why I'm saying, like, it takes a lot. So you got to look at those things. Don't just think about last season for Scherzer, because Scherzer did not pitch playoff baseball all season. Because when you think about it, when you see those players that are playing playoff baseball all year, you get to the playoffs and you notice like the different demeanor they have compared to those players. Like, look at the guy the Padres traded for in the Pirate team, the second baseman. I can't think of his name. He was hitting top of the league. He was leading in batting average. He went to the Padres, started playing playoff baseball. He could not produce. They had him in the bench.
Oh, Adam Frazier?
Frazier, yeah. So that's one of the guys that's in the fantasy baseball, and everybody's so high on him and with the Pirates. But when he made it to the Padres, what happened to him? He just went.
He fell apart.
Yeah, playing playoff baseball is not the same as playing regular baseball.
Okay, so Max Scherzer.
That changes strategies, right?
But who did Max Scherzer sign with?
He signed with the Mets.
Exactly. And in the Mets, they have a pretty solid division. They're going to be facing some competitors. So he's going to have a pretty high level of competition for the whole season. And they're going to look at him as the ace, because Jacob Degrom is not ready.
Hey, Will, we got a question. Hold on, before you continue. I don't know if Jasper has to go. So he's real quick. The Chicago White Sox, I was going to say Cubs, going to win it all. Detroit going to make the playoffs. I don't know about Detroit making the playoffs. If they go after Correa, because it looks like Carlos Correa kind of, because Hinch is there, right? He might go there. Yeah. But the White Sox had a great team last year, and what happened? Maybe 1 year experience going into the playoffs might get them a little bit more exposure to win that World Series. But there's too many teams right now that I think the White Sox still need to try to compete against the Blue Jays. The AL East is just stacked to me, man.
So, we learned something from watching Moneyball, from listening to Billy Beane. He wanted guys to get on base, right? And you look at the White Sox, and a lot of those guys, almost every single one of those guys, except for Grandal, every single one of those guys on the White Sox has a very low on-base percentage compared to their batting average. You know how I've always said you want a guy that has about 100 points higher for his on-base percentage than his batting average. So if he's batting 280, you want him to have a 380 or close to it on-base percentage. You look at the White Sox numbers, and all of them have, pretty decent average. You got Jose Abreu, you have Tim Anderson, Luis Robert, but all these guys they strike out so much
But
and
they have a lot of talent, though.
and
That's
they
what I'm
never
saying.
walk. That's the problem, is they have no plate discipline. You have no plate discipline. You're either going to swing hard and miss, or you're going to pop it straight up, or you're going to hit it down on the ground. These guys need to learn how to take a pitch once in a while. They're always swinging and missing way too much. That's the problem that I saw with the White Sox last season.
But
except for Grandal. But Grandal used to be a Dodger.
But he gets injured a lot.
He gets injured a lot.
Yeah, I think that. Look, I don't think the White Sox are far-fetched from winning the World Series. I don't think.
Well, Rodon's gone. That's a huge hit right there.
It is a huge hit, but I think that they just have too much talent, though. I think the White Sox, look, to me, the White Sox were.
Do they develop their talent well? That's going to be the issue. It's the same issue with the Padres. Do they develop their talent well? And there's so many teams that are kind of notorious out there for getting these like good players. Like you mentioned Adam Frazier earlier. He goes to the Padres and he starts sucking. So why didn't the Padres staff find out what it is that Adam Frazier's missing to try to make him into the player that he was in Pittsburgh?
I don't know, man. I think that
look what the Giants did last year, dude.
Moneyball. They were really Moneyball.
The Giants took their players, whether they were new or old or whatever, and they turned them all into superstars.
Jasper, I know you're saying Cleveland and Tigers, right? I remember last year I said that the White Sox are going to struggle against Cleveland. And I'm going to say it again, man. I think Cleveland has the White Sox number for some reason. Really? If they can, I think if they can get through the Cleveland, I think, man, maybe they can win the World Series, because I think Cleveland has a little good pitching staff, what they have there. It's just one of those things where a team doesn't produce or doesn't do good as with other teams, like the Dodgers used to face the Padres. It wasn't good news for the Dodgers. It was kind of bad news. And when the Dodgers played the Giants, when the Giants had the worst team, the Dodgers couldn't beat them for some reason.
And the Angels too.
The Angels too, like the Angels had the worst team. Even now, like they struggle. So those teams have their number. I think Cleveland has the White Sox number. It's not the Indians anymore. It's the Guardians. It's going to take time for me to remember that, because all my life I know them as the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah.
So
they're going to mess up on TV a lot.
I'll just say it like this: Cleveland, and I'll leave it at that. And because I'm Guardians, you like that name, Guardians? No, to be honest,
I don't like it at all,
dude. It should have been the Cleveland something else, I don't know, but the Guardians, I think that kind of sucks.
I heard the Washington football team, they also decided on a name. I forgot what it is, but
man, Commanders, right, or something like that.
Is it Commanders? I don't remember. Like I remember I heard it and I was like,
a lot of people are displeased with that one too. It's like, what?
No, it sounds weird, but I feel like after a couple of years, people are just going to get used to it. And there's so many teams out there that the team name just doesn't sound like it makes sense. Like, why would you name a team the Browns? Why would you name a team the Reds? Or there's so many team names out. The Jazz.
There's so much like animals out there that you can go ahead. What is that association that's going to try to take the bullpen out because it's offensive to the Bulls? Getting slaughtered.
PETA?
It's PETA? Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they don't want it called the bullpen anymore.
Oh my God. That's kind of like, I don't want to.
That's a little overboard, dude. It's so funny.
You know why they call it the bullpen, right? So that's where they hold the cows before they go into the slaughterhouse. I'm like, come on, man. How are you going to relate a bullpen in baseball to a slaughterhouse? Like, there's no way. Like, you could have been the Cleveland cows, like, why not? Or the Cleveland potatoes. Like
the Cleveland potatoes.
Something different. Like, well, the PETA Association probably, I don't know if I said it right. They'll probably like stop calling the teams animal names. But you still have like lions. I know they're in football, but you can still use that in baseball. Why not? Right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Well, there's so much things, man. And it sucks. It sucks that I know we got off topic, but we're trying to answer questions here. I know Tony Snap said that Anderson and Grandal get walks, don't they? Like they do, but Grandal, I think he gets injured too much. And I think that's why they got him to play with the White Sox so he can switch it with them and like create that plate discipline. But because he's not there, I think it's kind of affecting the White Sox. But like I said, I think the White Sox have a good talented team, and yeah, they're gonna win the AL Central. It's just getting by the Indians. To me, it's the Indians.
That's the thing. I think that in their own division, I don't think that anyone can hold a candle to the White Sox. I think the White Sox got it for sure. But then when you go into the playoffs and you're going to be facing teams like the Astros, you're going to be facing teams like the Yankees and the Red Sox. I think that's
The AL East.
that's when you really need to increase your on base percentage. You need to get on base so that way you can have guys like Tim Anderson has like a 318, 320 batting average career. You know, if the guy in front of him can get on base, Tim Anderson can at least move him over, you know, and then you have Jose Abreu that hits third or fourth that could, you know, get a couple RBI out of it. I think that it really just starts with number 1 and 2 that just need to get on base.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, like I said, the White Sox are going to do good things, but getting over to AL East, and who knows, we're talking about like what ifs and stuff like that. Like there's still free agents out there. They might sign someone. They might make a big trade.
There's a lot of free agents.
There's a lot of free agents.
I was actually looking at the list today.
That's what fantasy baseball is kind of, you know, that's why I asked those questions, Will, because you have all these players in free agency and you don't even know where they're going to play. Like they're good. There's good players, but that's what I mentioned.
I'm really hoping that a lot of people out there are not doing their drafts yet, their fantasy drafts yet, because there's so many players that are either being upgraded or downgraded after they sign wherever it is that they sign.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Correa, as example, like you were saying.
Yeah. Well, we got to that point. So who are you going to avoid in the first round, man?
In the first round? So there's one guy that I am looking to avoid in the first round. And
let me guess. No,
I mean, you can guess if you want. You're not going to be right.
Bellinger.
Bellinger's not going in the first round. He's going in like the 5th.
Tony will be mad at you.
The guy, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of hate about this, and this is strictly for categories leagues. I don't think that this guy should be going number 3 overall in categories leagues, and that's Juan Soto.
What?
I love Juan Soto, but
why not?
Because they have him projected to hit 35 home runs. He has never hit 35 home runs in his whole career, and he doesn't run. He'll probably have maybe like 10 stolen bases. So he's more of like a 25 homer guy. So 25 home runs, 10 stolen bases. Is that really worth a number 3 overall pick? He does have a 300 something average, 320, 325, and that's great for categories leagues.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, also look at the lineup that he's in. So he's not going to be scoring as many runs as he should be. He's not going to be getting as many RBI as he should be. His biggest asset is batting average.
Yeah.
And I don't want to pay a premium for a guy that's really just going to be a batting average specialist and not going to be elite in any other area. When there's other guys that could be going after him, like Vladimir Guerrero, who's going to hit 40 home runs.
The Tony's over there talking smack over there on the chat. So there, Will is tripping. He said, "Boo that."
Tony, you should have got on so that way we can get on this right now. So you can
I know. So he could be talking about the you could be talking about categories. He could be talking about points.
See, now in points leagues,
the referee
I think
it is
completely opposite. I feel like Juan Soto could go number 1 overall, and I would be happy with that pick because this guy gets on base like crazy, and he has a super high batting average, hits galore, doubles galore. Now that's one thing that he does great is he hits a lot of doubles, but a lot of those doubles, if they turned into home runs, you know, he's still really young. So he hasn't hit his man strength yet. Give him like 2 more years when he hits his man strength. If he can reach 30 home runs in a season, okay, you know, I'm all for it. But at 20 to 25 home runs, I think it's a waste of a number 3 overall pick in a categories league.
Gotcha. Let's go to number 2, man. Who do you got number 2? I know a lot of people are going to disagree with you, and that's good. Yeah, that's what we want. Want to get people
number
pissed.
2, I got he's actually going early in the 2nd round. He's ranked number 15 overall, and that's Max Scherzer. And that's for the reasons that I gave you before. He's going to be 39 years old. He had arm fatigue, dead arm at the end of last season. We saw what happened to Josh Donaldson after he got dead arm, you know, playing third base. So he doesn't have to throw 100 pitches. He throws across the field, what, maybe 10 times in a game,
Well,
and that's like kind of pushing it. So for Josh Donaldson to have dead arm and just look at what happened to his career after that happened. It's just he's never been the same since then.
he had Ozzie Guillen talking smack on him. Remember, he's over there
Did he?
saying that Ozzie Guillen saying that he had 3 rings. Man, dude, you didn't even win 3 rings. I think you only got 2, I believe. Telling Josh Donaldson, you got to get one of these. Remember, like I was like, what? Get out of here, dude. I don't remember you getting 3. But yeah, they were talking smack to each other. So yeah, I mean, I just thought I bring that up because I know we have a White Sox fan here, and Ozzie Guillen's one of those White Sox big time coaches back there. But yeah, man, I think I think it is gonna be a factor for Scherzer, especially in the cold weather like New York. And the summer is great, but starting the season, if the season starts in April, it's gonna still be kind of cold out there. May, kind of cold, and then June, that's when you start getting heat. So he's older, and at 15 overall, I don't know. So that I like that one, even for points. I think it's a good pick to avoid. But if you want to go for it, why not? You can take your chances with him.
The thing with him and pretty much the rest of the guys on my list, including Soto, it's high risk, high reward. And fantasy baseball is a big gamble.
Yeah.
You're basically you pay money, or in free leagues you pay your time, and you're hoping that these guys perform for you, but you have injury risk, you have regression risk. There's a lot of risks in there, and my job as a fantasy baseball analyst is to assess all the risks of all the players that we're talking about, and just kind of give my point of view on which ones are a little bit too risky for me to take at their current ADP.
Yep. Well, thanks for number 2. Let's get number 3, man. Who do you have number 3?
Number 3, hopefully Jasper's not listening anymore because it's a White Sox. And the guy I'm talking about is Luis Robert. Luis Robert is going number 17 overall. Now, I love Luis Robert. I had Luis Robert last year, and when he came back from injury, he was amazing, dude. He helped us win the podcast league.
Amazing, zing zing.
But he just, for me, dude, he just hasn't been doing this long enough. His first season in the majors was in 2020, so he didn't even have a full season. He hasn't even had a full season yet at all. Because last year he was hurt most of the year. He got hurt in the beginning of the season, and he didn't show up until close to the playoffs. And then in 2020, he played 56 games. So he had a whole season, but not really like a full Major League Baseball season, 162 games. He only missed 4 games in 2020. And in 2020, he batted 233, 11 home runs. 11 home runs actually is pretty decent in 56 games. That's fine. That means that, he's on pace for like a little more than 30 home runs.
If it was like 162, he probably hit the 30 home run mark. Yeah. But he's still young, dude. I don't think
he's still really young. He's 23. Yeah. He'll be 20 going into his 24 season.
Yeah, he's still young.
I think just number 17 overall, man, in the second round. There's so many outfielders that are available throughout the whole draft. I can't take this guy in the second round. I don't trust him enough to take him in the second round. Maybe like end of the third, maybe like at the 3-4 turn, or a little bit before that, then I might be fine taking a guy like that. But that's one of the things that I was talking about. That's just a little too risky for myself.
Wow. Do you guys agree with Will? If you don't, hit that dislike button. I think our show's gonna. I think he's too young. I think he's not one of those players like we talked about last year. Tatis. We talked about Tatis, how he hasn't played a full season. He proves us wrong. By the way, he proved don't count on Will saying all the right answers because we don't know, right? But that is a good he's giving us his take on it and pretty good argument on it. I know I would love to have Tony on here so he can argue on you with that, with Vlad and all those I know he would have been talking a lot of smack with the first pick you had, which I think he did on the chat.
Sure.
So give us number 4, man. Your last pick.
That's also because Tony is all about points leagues. I think the podcast league that we won last year, I think that's the only categories league that he's actually ever done. So he doesn't really have a lot of experience like that. So you look at players differently. Like when I joined your guys' league, the Inglorious Bashers, and I had never done a points league before, it was very different from me. And I didn't value certain players the way that I should have. Now that I have a little bit more experience in points and categories, I have a bit more understanding of where I want to put the value for each player. Guys like Trey Turner, I would much rather have Trey Turner in a categories league than a points league, because like I wouldn't even mind taking Trey Turner number 1 overall in a categories league, because you're guaranteed to get 40 to 50 steals, probably close to about 20 home runs and a shitload of runs and a decent amount of RBIs because of the lineup he's in.
Yep, that's true. That's a good point. I think I might have that one written down. Got it. Actually, I put it in my head. Let's move on. Let's give us our number 4, man, and your final one, a player to avoid.
Number 4, he's going at the end of the second round, and we kind of mentioned him throughout the podcast so far. That's Jacob Degrom. For me, it's just the injury risk. I can't put all my eggs in one basket and go with Degrom in the second round when there's other guys around him that are healthy, like Walker Buehler. I'd much rather have Walker Buehler over Jacob Degrom. I'd much rather have Shane Bieber. Even though Bieber was injured last season, he's really young, so he's going to bounce back. And Shane Bieber was Cy Young just 2 years ago in the shortened season. But if you look at his strikeout totals, he has like 2 Ks per inning. His K9 is like, I want to say like 15 or something like that. So it's like super high. It's actually close to Jacob Degrom. Jacob Degrom is he's an ERA and a whip specialist. He doesn't give up a lot of hits at all. Now Shane Bieber is going to give up some hits, definitely, because look at the lineups that he's facing in the Central Division. In the American League in general, facing DHs and everything. Well, now the National League's going to have to deal with that also. But the risk of an injury prone player like that, I'm trying to avoid DeGrom for the same reasons that I've been avoiding Strasburg for the past 3 years.
Where is he dropping? Like, where is Strasburg at?
I don't even think he's getting drafted now. I mean, really? if he is, it's like, I don't know. I never see him in my mock drafts anymore. So either people take him and I just don't pay attention, or I have no idea. I mean, I can look it up.
Yeah, I think we need to do a mock draft. As like I said, baseball is not even happening yet. We still have till the 5th for MLB to make a decision. And, it's going to be kind of hard for that to happen because they're only meeting like for 15 minutes and stuff like that. We're not even getting the correct news yet. I know they want to expand the playoff scenario to where they have 14 teams in each league. So what's going to happen is going to have 7 teams in the National League, 7 teams in the American League. I know it's off a topic from fantasy baseball, but Will's looking for stats there. So I'll just go ahead and talk about that. And what's going to happen is the 6 teams are going to play each other, and the number 1 seed on that league is going to sit and wait until the other teams win. So I don't know. I kind of don't like the 14 team format, only because it's going to have a team resting. And when the team rests, it kind of kills momentum for them. Sometimes the teams that are playing like garbage are probably even now, because there's going to be like a bigger chance for you to make playoffs. Those teams are going to go into the playoffs with momentum. Look what happened with the Braves. I feel like the Braves and the Nationals, they went into the playoffs with momentum. So that can happen in baseball. It's not like any other sport where you see physicality against other teams. They're going to beat up on those teams, and they're going to win. But in baseball, it's way different. You carry momentum into the playoffs, you win it. So what's up, man? You found it?
So Strasburg is going in the 20th round.
Oh, okay.
That's his overall projection
ADP.
right now, 244 overall, and even on some other ones, actually the average that's just Fantasy Pros, but the average he's actually going 265 overall. So in a
Wow.
lot of drafts, he's not even getting drafted.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, that's not. It's a good idea to like pick, not even pick him up, and if no one picks him up, but he's a really real known name.
yeah.
There's no way that they're not going to pick him up. You know, the last rounds, you forget about certain players, and you see him on there, and you're like, I'm gonna pick him up. Take a
Well, I
risk.
mean, that's late enough where you're just going to fill your bench with guys that you're going to drop eventually anyway.
Yeah.
So, adding Steven Strasburg, it's not the end of the world if you're getting him in the 20th round,
Yeah.
because we saw what he did in 2019.
Yeah.
And if we can get 2019 numbers in the 20th round, that's a league winner right there.
That's a league winner. Yeah. And that's going to be one of those
on the
picks.
other hand, it's like
sleeper.
if you were to try to get him, earlier, if he was going in like the 10th round and he just gets injured on the first week of the season, 30 pitches in, and then he's out for the rest of the year, then you just wasted a 10th round pick.
Dang.
10th round isn't going to be as, impactful as like a first round, second round, third round pick, but still, like there's guys that are going in the 10th round, hitters that are going in the 10th round that could seriously boost your numbers up, whether it's a points league or a categories league, that I'd much rather have than him. I mean, obviously, with him going number 265 overall.
You could just draft them and put. Is he injured? I don't remember if he's injured
Currently,
or not.
I don't think so.
No, he's ready to pitch 2022.
I hope so. I mean, I would love to pick him up as a streamer and possibly see what he does against, other teams. And hopefully spring training will start so that way we can actually see these guys, what they've been developing in the offseason and what they can do going forward.
That's one of the guys that needs steroids, so he won't get injured. Like, seriously, this guy gets injured every year, except it's like it sucks for him, right? Like I wish he wouldn't get injured so he can see his full potential, because he is a great pitcher. It's just, injuries gets the best of him. And if steroids were around and were legal, like they can go ahead and use them and get a lot fast recovery time. Dude, I'm gonna ask you, do you know the story of the Pirates in 1985?
No, I don't think so.
That's why I mentioned them earlier. So did you know in 1985 the Pirates had a drug scandal where the mascot sold drugs to them?
What the hell?
It's pretty crazy, right? So the mascot, will get them in contact with a drug dealer, dude, and they had a big thing going on in the 80s. You know how the cartel was moving a lot of drugs into the United States, so it got into baseball. And it was interesting when I found this out, and I didn't know about it, and I started reading, and like Pablo Escobar was into this. Like everybody, dude, these big drug lords were into like getting these baseball players drugs, and the mascot was the one selling it to them. Pretty crazy, right? Like,
yeah, man.
Yeah, I just thought I'd put that out there. I think it was one of those things where a lot of players went to court. They didn't get convicted, but they had to do community service for 2 years, and they still played baseball. So and some of them retired, and they still had to go to trial for that. And I think that's a bigger problem than what we're having.
Did you hear
now.
about the Tyler Skaggs update?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Was it not Batman, Dark Knight, Harvey?
Matt Harvey.
Yeah.
So Matt Harvey was involved. There was a guy that was actually pointing the finger at Matt Harvey, saying that he's the one that gave Tyler Skaggs the drugs that he eventually overdosed on. Yeah. I don't think anyone really knows for sure except for Matt Harvey, but I mean, they did find that Matt Harvey was taking the drugs, but he wasn't the one that supplied it for Tyler Skaggs. That there was a someone in the managerial staff and the coaching staff that was supplying it for Tyler Skaggs. So it wasn't a player. It was
I did read about it, and I kind of felt like, Matt Harvey, like, are you serious? Like, if someone comes to you and they use the same medicine to, like, for whatever it is, and you don't know, man, you don't know what demons he has or whatever, you are just going to be like, oh yeah, this guy gets them for me. You could talk to him. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Because we don't know what demons these guys have. Like, remember, these guys come from the minor leagues. They drive to each baseball game before they go into the major leagues. There's a whole different life. And we need to try to get a minor league player on the show so they can explain how hard it is to make it to the MLB, because these players have to drive to their own games. Sometimes they have to pay for their own room, or they sleep in their cars. Like what we just mentioned in the beginning of the show, double A, I mean, not double A, single A players, they don't have the same amenities as they do, the double A does, and then the triple A, and then the major
Right.
leagues, So they struggle, man. And sometimes you have to be by yourself. Sometimes you don't eat. Sometimes you don't sleep well. It's just crazy. You're trying to make it to the bigs, and it's a lot harder to make it to the bigs in baseball than it is any other sport. You can argue that, that's fine. I'll be here all night. We can debate on it, and we can go back and forward, but I just think baseball is a hard sport.
The thing with baseball compared to the other sports is baseball is an acquired skill. Now, if you're naturally athletic, it's going to come a lot easier to you, but
you still have to develop it though.
You have to develop. You have to fine tune these skills that are learned. No one knows how to swing a bat without learning how to swing a bat.
Unless you're a lefty, that's natural.
It's natural. Like
Gavin.
That's
a natural swing, dude. I envy the lefties because they just swing and it's like, wow, I wish I had that swing. Seriously,
swing.
Yeah, Griffey, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, everybody has to work on their swing. But when you look at a lefty, and they just pick up the bat for the first time and they swing, you're just like, wow.
Yeah, but
I had that swing.
But then if you look at like football, right? And honestly, I think that the only position in football that is really a skill that is learned over time is quarterback, because you actually have to throw the ball, but these other guys, it's mostly all athleticism. The running backs trying to get through the guys that are trying to block him. It's not a particular skill set that you can gain over time. I mean, you can get better at avoiding, blockers and stuff like that. But I mean, if you have speed, if you have strength, that's what's going to be like your biggest skills in a game like football or basketball. If you have height, that's what's going to be your biggest skill in basketball. But in baseball, everything's about strategy. Everything's about skills that you learn how to use, and I agree with you completely that baseball is the hardest sport to become a professional in. And it's not for reasons that other people think. I think it's just because you have to develop these skills to even learn how to do this stuff. It's not like you can just grab a basketball and throw it into a hoop. I've never played on a team before, but I have a basketball in my basketball hoop in my driveway, and there's been times when I make 5 shots in a row. But how many times have you seen a professional football player, professional basketball player grab a bat, go into a batting cage, and just look like an idiot because they don't even know how to swing a bat?
Yeah, it's much deeper than that, though. I think like basketball, I all my respect for basketball players, including football players. Look, one of the players that just retired from football, big time name Tom Brady, he was drafted by the Expos. So he was the last player, professional player in any sport to represent the Expos as a catcher, dude. Can you believe that? Tom Brady was a catcher, and look how good he was as a quarterback. So makes you think maybe quarterbacks are, catchers. Catchers are good coaches too.
Clayton Kershaw was a quarterback in college,
but not a catcher.
No, he was a pitcher.
Yeah. So there you go. Like, I think Matthew Stafford was a catcher back when they're in Little League or something. I think I saw him in his gear. So
Stafford and Kershaw were on the same Little League team.
Yeah. So Stafford's a quarterback. So, he's a lot older. He won his Super Bowl a lot older than Tom Brady did. But Tom Brady was a catcher with the Expos. The Expos don't even exist anymore. Dude, who remembers the Expos? I need to get me a jersey or a hat. You remember the Expos?
Vlad
Guerrero, Walker. Who else was on that team? Man, so many players on that. Yeah, Vlad Guerrero was a big time Expo. Dennis Martinez. Do you remember him?
No.
Nah. Pedro Martinez. Do you remember him?
Oh yeah, of course.
Pedro Martinez, man, with the Expos, dude. Delano the
Yeah,
Shields.
I do
Oh,
remember seeing him in an Expos hat.
yeah. I think if I'm not mistaken, Larry Walker was on that team. So yeah, if you know old baseball, I'm your man. Cause I remember all that stuff. I have no idea
Yeah,
why.
honestly, dude, before like 2010, I don't know anything. I mean, I know like big names. I know about scandals that happened, and
Yeah.
I
Now you know about
remember
the
some.
Pirates one.
Now I know about the Pirates one, exactly. And I remember things from when I was a kid about the Dodgers, but growing up with a mom that was obsessed with the Dodgers. But any other team, I don't really remember much. And I mean, everything that I know about baseball before 2010 is stuff that I've learned after 2010, like the
Gotcha.
Pirates.
Like the Pirates. Yeah. Like the Pirates. There's other stories I have, but I can't just throw them all out there today. I'll throw them out throughout the season because there's so much stuff about baseball that's like, oh my God, it's just crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and say it on this show. Who's your favorite baseball player, man? I've never asked, and I think I've never said who's my favorite baseball player, and it came to me as a surprise not too long ago. It's pretty crazy. I was just kind of like, I'm not emotional, but kind of like, what? You kidding me? That's my favorite baseball player. So that's
You
crazy,
had an
dude.
epiphany.
Yeah, I was like, what? No way. Like, I'll tell you, but I need to hear yours first, man.
I mean, if you could see my podcast room, you would know I have a frame right there. I have a bobblehead right here. I have so much stuff. It's Justin Turner.
Okay, nice. Oh, current. So
Yeah.
currently he's
I
still
mean,
playing.
dude, I'm telling you, like I didn't really follow baseball before 2010. So from 2010 until now is really all the knowledge that I really have. And Justin Turner, dude, after he got on the Dodgers, just something about that pretty swing that he has, dude, and he really reminded me of myself because I was playing an adult league at the time, and just the style that he played, his swing that he had, it got kind of just reminded me of myself. The same height, we grew up in the same area. He's from Long Beach, so a lot of the things that I would learn about this guy, it kind of it hit close to home, and
Yeah,
he's an amazing player. He's an amazing person. I see all the things that he does in the community with his wife, and yeah.
yeah.
Justin
Well,
Turner.
Jasper just gave us his, man. I think that's Justin Turner's not a bad one to pick because he's what, 5'10". He's not that tall. So
5'10". He's
yeah,
a little bit shorter than me.
yeah. So and he can hit like good as like the rest of them.
Dude, I don't know if you know this, but he has the record for the most home runs hit in the postseason by a Dodger.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, I think he got it last year, right?
Yeah.
I think yeah, he got it last year. So Jasper just joined the conversation with the best baseball player or his favorite baseball player. He said Greg Maddox. No doubt, man. This guy had a great changeup. He did not pitch that fast, but he painted the black, and he
Yep.
always got those strikeouts. Where if we go into the robotic strike zone, would those strikes even be counted as a strike or strikeouts? So, yeah, right, Will. So I agree with you on that one. I like Greg Maddox. He's an old timer too, and he even played with the Dodgers. He played with
Oh, did he?
he played with the Cubs. He played with
See,
the
and that's the thing.
Braves
It's
and the
like I
Dodgers.
remember growing up in LA, and on TBS, you would always see Braves games.
Yeah.
And for me, it was channel 17. And every time I turned on channel 17, it
Yeah,
would always just be Braves games. And I remember seeing Greg Maddox,
yeah.
and some of the other starting pitchers that were there as well.
Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, Steve
John
Avery.
Smoltz. There you go.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
him. I don't really remember Glavin. I only remember the name now because I play MLB The Show, and they have him as a legend on there. But yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Like I'm seeing here that Greg Maddox last pitch was in 2008,
Yeah,
and I didn't really start watching baseball until 2010. So
yeah.
that's one of those guys that I really don't know much about. I just know that he's Hall of Famer and he's elite.
Dude, you're gonna be surprised on mine, dude, because I didn't even get to see this player, but he carried himself really well in the field. He played
Huey
the game the
Reese.
right. Not even, man. Dude, I was surprised. You're wearing his hat. Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson, really?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's because I bought the game last year, right? And it's the Jackie Robinson cover, and I have it next to the World Series trophy. So I was walking through my what do you call it? I was walking through my living room, and I saw those two together, and I'm like, no way, Jackie Robinson is my favorite player. Like the way he carried himself, the way he played the game. You know how they say he played the game the right way? He always played it the right way. And I kind of see myself doing that. Like I didn't speak a lot when I was a kid. I was always quiet. I was one of those kids that you do this and I went and did it. So
so it was a kind of a reflection of yourself.
Kind of, you know, like
so like the same thing for me, like with Justin Turner. It's crazy how that kind of works like that.
Right? Huh? It does, because this guy would dive for every ball. He would throw himself, he would slide. And I used to do that. That's why my body aches all the time. You know, I wish someone would have told me when I was a kid, hey, if you're not going to make it to the MLB, don't do those things.
But it's fun.
It is fun. It is fun.
It's like, dude, I am so messed up right now. I'm 38 years old, and every day, everything hurts. But I remember back in the day, backyard wrestling, getting hit with the chairs, jumping off of walls, and I broke my tailbone. Like, there's so many things that I did. And those were like my glory days, dude. It was so fun. It was like the best time of my life. I'm definitely paying for it now, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'd much rather have the pain now and remember the fun that I had back then.
Dude, you don't know. Oh man, I don't even know how many times I got hit in the eye, like with a bat. Like, dude,
with a bat?
With a bat, yeah, with a bat. It's just one of those things where I wasn't paying attention and someone was swinging the bat and pop.
Oh, geez.
Or they were just having the bat like this and pop, got hit, or someone threw it. I got hit so many times. I don't know why I don't have scars or anything, but my eyes were like huge.
A lot of broken glasses.
Yeah. So I didn't have glasses when I was a kid. I think that's why my eyes are all messed up. But my mom, dude, when she would get home from work, because she would work swing shift, she would like, what happened to you? And she would get mad at my dad because they'll be like, hey, you know, how come you didn't take care of your kid? Like, what the hell? How come he's always injured?
But it was just you being a dumbass.
Yeah, it was just being a dumbass, being whatever, you know, like getting in the way of swinging bats and stuff like that. I even got hit by a ball like twice in the eye. And it's
geez, like the Sandlot.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude, it's just crazy. I know. I even in the scooter, like twice, I scraped my face on the same side.
Maybe you needed glasses back then.
Maybe
then you wouldn't have got hit so often.
I didn't see anybody swinging, so I went through. Yeah, man, those were the days. And like you said, I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. I think those were really good memories, and I think those make you who you are now. And you reflect on those things back then, and a lot of people say, yeah, you should have been taking your vitamins and your body wouldn't be hurting as much right now. But as a kid, you don't know, man. You're just trying to have fun. And then especially if you're like growing up, because we grew up in the streets, it's not something where we were like kept inside the house like kids are now, playing Nerf balls and stuff like that. No, you would play with hard ball and a hard bat, no glove or a glove or
break
whatever.
Some windows.
Yeah, it's now, it was natural back then. So now it's different. It's way different. It's a different ball game. So what it is, what it is. Yeah, Jasper saying those were the great years. Yeah, the Braves, the 90s, they were legit. They were one of those teams where you had to watch every game. And
I got a buddy that I used to work with that his favorite team is the Braves. Even
there's so many.
He was born and raised in LA.
There's so many Braves fans though.
The Braves, just because he remembers growing up as a kid and turning on TBS and just watching how great the Braves were at that time.
Dude, I can name you a whole bunch of Braves. Like you got Javi Lopez, catcher. Oh my God, Eddie Perez, a backup catcher. You have David Justice, Terry Pendleton. Oh, then Ryan Klesko. Dude, I knew all the freaking Braves players, and it's like I'm not even a Braves fan. I'm a Dodger fan, but because the Braves made it to the playoffs every single year, and they will televise these games on Channel 11 for all players. Yeah. It was like it's not even happening now. And that's what we were talking about last season. Remember, we said, how are we going to help baseball get back to where it used to be, where kids were enjoying the game or getting mad because, oh, my cartoon's not coming on. You know, like you will have to sit there and watch the game because there was other channels that will play baseballs too. Like it will be like, think it was WGN for the Cubs, right? And there will be TBS for the Braves. And then you had was it Channel 5 or Channel 9? I forget what channel
Channel
it was.
5 was Dodgers.
The Dodgers, right? So yeah, at 5 o'clock, you knew there was a baseball game. And when baseball playoffs started, it was Channel 11 and Channel 2 or Channel 4.
Yeah,
I forget.
I remember seeing the Angels a lot on Channel 11.
Yeah, they will play them on Saturdays a lot. Yeah. Oh, the crime dog, man. Fred McGriff, dude. I forgot about him. Yeah. Jasper just said that. So Jasper knows what's up, man. He knows
Yeah, he
the
does.
old,
He's
he
old
knows the
school,
old,
man.
yeah, he's an old school souls. I like that. But yeah, that's why there's so many Braves fans. I know a lot of Braves fans, and there's nothing against them. It's pretty cool like that. They chose to go with a winning team. I decided not to go to a winning team. I never do, but we finally got a winning team in 2020. I know it's a shortened season, but let's get that 2022 World Series so we can change that 2020 into 2022 if there's a season. Will, I think we reached the end of the show. Is there anything else you want to talk about? I know we talked about fantasy baseball and we got off of topic a lot, but I think we have a lot to say. That's why we got off the topic. But here you go, man. What do you got to say?
There's I didn't really finish up my list. I wanted to name a few more from the guys that I'm avoiding. And I'm just going to name them off real quick. And if you guys want to reach out and ask me why I have these guys on my list, feel free to. You can reach us at realtalkbaseball@yahoo.com. That's our email address. You can also check out our Instagram. Just search Real Talk Baseball. We have a Twitter, the letter R, Talk Baseball. The other names that I mentioned on my list is Starling Marte. He's going number 23 overall. Cedric Mullins, number 29 overall. Marcus Semien, number 32 overall. And Francisco Lindor at number 38 overall.
I agree with Francisco Lindor. I don't think he's going to have a good season. I think he's declining.
Yeah,
and I've been saying
I got my reasons. So if you guys do want to hear my reasons, go ahead and send me a message on Instagram or email, and I'll get back to you as soon as I see it.
Or why don't you just post it on Instagram so we can have people look at it?
Yeah, we can do that
too. We can put it on TikTok too and see what people
say. Or I could just
it.
Continue this list next week.
Oh, we can. We're going to be on next Friday. We're trying to make it a habit of being on here every Friday. And if we change the date, we'll let you guys know. But we're trying to stay and build that consistency for you guys so you guys can know that every Friday we're going to be on and we're going to be seeing your questions and hopefully answer them. If we're not answering your questions, and keep hitting that button or something so we can pay attention to your question. I don't have anything else to say because I know I've said it all. I just wanted to get the Pirate story out. I think it was pretty cool, and I just wanted to make sure that I got who my favorite baseball player is or was. But yeah, let's end the show right there, and we'll come back next Friday for sure. And if you have any questions, Will already had told us where to go to ask those questions. I'm Carlos Baseball. This is Will Power, Real Talk Baseball. Signing out.